Hey, Blake, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Excited to have you on. Tell us who you are, what you do.
My name is Blake Denman. I'm the president and founder of Rickety Roo Inc. We are a remote-based agency specializing in SEO, local SEO, paid search marketing. Team of 13 spread out across the country. We have one Canadian. Yeah, founded the agency February of 2009. So been
Doing it for a while.
just a little bit.
How'd you come up with the name? I like the name.
Thanks. Yeah, totally random. The telemarketing company I used to work at, I was a production manager and then ran their pay-per-click division before I went out on my own. They started doing mass layoffs and they laid off a whole bunch of my friends. And so we're all hanging out. And I just kind of threw it out there like, why don't we start our own company? We're the ones who do all the work. We know what we're doing. They got all excited. We're trying to come up with a name. The name Rickety Roo popped in my head. I threw it out there. They liked it. I popped the domain name. 4 or 6 months later, when I went on my own, I needed a business name. People seem to think the name was cute. It implies nothing about what we do. Like rickety is not a very strong word. It's like built on shaky foundation and just been rolling with it ever since.
Yeah, no, I love it. And how did you get started in the agency life? What's the story there?
Initially, like when I went on my own, I was just freelancing and had a couple clients. I was able to work, 4 to 6 hours a week and like pay all my bills and rent. And I was able to focus on school. I was going down a completely different career path. And then 6 months in, I suffered a severe traumatic brain injury. And when you're in your early-ish 20s, you think you're invincible. I was ready to fix your road bike with no helmet and no brakes, 20 miles into a ride. Busy intersection, locked up, went up and over the bars, landed straight on my head, which killed that career path. And then for a little bit, just was kind of trying to figure out what to do next. And then started getting a couple new clients and realized like it would be cool if I didn't have to do all of the work, including like all the admin. I even did my corporate taxes 1 year, which that was a horrible mistake. There was no issues, but it took me like 2 full days. And then hired my first coach 2019. And that's when, he had built what I was trying to accomplish. So like he was able to give me a lot of the frameworks and like a lot of the upcoming pitfalls. And that's when we started like really growing.
So going back to the telemarketing or company, when you guys came up with the name, was that before the freelancing or was that kind of middle?
That was before I freelancing. That was about 4 to 6 months before I left that company and then went on my own.
Cool. What's been the biggest kind of pivot that has happened in the past couple of years for you in the agency? Not from the starting out phase, but has there been like a certain pivot that really made a difference in your agency?
Strategic hires that require me to let go.
Mm.
And that's like been one of the
That been hard for you in the past to let go?
100%. This is like my first child, right? I have a 2-year-old daughter, and operations was the last thing I truly let go of. And like for the past 16 years, like I've been forming, I've been directly involved. Like I knew exactly what the path was.
Uh-huh.
And then once I hired my VP of Ops, it was kind of like that John Travolta meme from Pulp Fiction. Like it's like, what do I do now? Like this is like so much of me is in here, but now I don't. What do I do now? Oh, focus on biz dev. It's like okay, and it's some weird like version of empty nest syndrome or something where it's like, oh, this company is now its own thing. It doesn't need me 40 to 60 hours a week anymore. And it was kind of like I hit this. It was more of like an identity paralysis, not a crisis, is a paralysis. And I just kind of had to sit there and be like, what do I want my life to look like?
It's a self-worth thing, don't you think? I identified myself as an agency owner. So when I sold my agency, I felt like I sold my soul because I didn't realize I'm more than an agency owner. I'm creative, I'm innovative. I like building things. Like I was like, oh, I can do other things. Right.
Yeah, but there's so many things, and you go like, oh my gosh, there's like 10,000 different ideas. And if you include like ChatGPT or Claude into the mix, it just makes it far, far worse because there's infinite possibilities, right? Like, oh yeah, I could go back to school and go do this now. I'm 40 years old. Yeah, sure, why not?
Do you go to AI and ask it questions like it's the best friend? I know I do. We even got to the extent where we created this marketing agent and we named it. We named it Charlie, Maverick, what was the last name? Like we just named it yesterday because we were like, I kept referencing it as my friend. Like I'm always like, thank you. Stupid shit to it.
Yeah, I have a special project folder in Claude where like I've uploaded like and most of the chats within that project are like personal related stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I've even asked it like, can you please help me identify like my strengths and weaknesses? Because I don't really even know what they are. I think I have an idea, but I don't really know. And I asked it like lots of different philosophical type questions.
Yeah.
I've gone down a couple rabbit holes, but I also like I read a lot. And back to the question talking about like with like identity, something that I've done for the last couple of years that makes complete sense, but hardly anybody ever does it. It's like when we're running an agency, it's like, okay, here's like our pro forma for the year, here's the KPIs, here's our quarterly rocks, whatever you want to call it, our OKRs. It's like, okay, here's like the goal, right? But then when it comes to our personal lives, we do none of that. So
Hmm.
then literally pen and paper, sit down and go, what do I want my ideal year to look like professionally, personally, trips, purchases, etc. And then plot all of that out and then look at it and go, okay, how much income do I need to make in order to live this ideal year? And we're always left to believe like it's always too far away. The first time I did it, I was like $1,500 per month off.
Yeah.
It's like, what? This is mad. Like, this is crazy.
Most people I chat with, especially when they're at the point where they want to sell their agency, and I actually talk them out of it. I'm like, why do you want to sell? Oh, so I can go do this, this, and this. I'm like, well, walk me through the business. And I'm like, hey, you can actually go do this now. You don't need to sell. And they're like, oh, I never thought about it that way. We're so far away, but we're so close. We don't realize it.
Yeah.
But I like how you map that out because I get to a point in my agency where I pivoted, where I was even taking an interview with another job because I was going to close down the agency, not because we weren't profitable. We were extremely profitable. I was doing so much in the agency that I hated, I needed to get rid of. And then I realized I was like, just like you did, I was like, I need to build this business around me. And, people might call it a lifestyle business, and that's what it is. But lifestyle businesses can be extremely profitable and you can sell it. But I think everybody should build the business around what they like and what they don't like. The people that don't, they just struggle. You work 20 years to sell your agency. And then what do you have? A good 10 years before your body shuts out and you can't do all the fun, epic stuff. Like go do it now.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the book Die with Zero?
Mm-mm.
It's a great book. It doesn't like literally mean die with zero legacy money to pass on to your
Zero
family, your
regrets.
kids. It's way more about looking at like where we save all this money and then we're going to do all the things we want to do in retirement. Well, guess what, buddy? By the time you hit that age, you won't be able to do half of the things you do because your body isn't capable. And the thing I really loved about that book that really flipped the switch for me was look at these life events, experiences as investments too, because they will pay dividends for the rest of your life, like compounding interest, which really kind of like shaped like, oh, yeah, that makes so much logical sense. I should do that now because I won't be able to do this 30 years from now.
Yeah. Do you design? So, what I started doing many years ago, and it's made my life so much better. I started designing my life based down to the week to the day. And so I basically would say, I'm not doing any meetings on Monday. I'm going to do epic stuff on Friday. I'm going to hang out with my family Saturdays, Sundays. And then down to the day, I'm like, I'm only doing meetings Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 2. That's it. And it just allowed me to design the whole business around that, which is time, right? Like we get into this business because we want freedom. But in the very beginning, we're a freaking prisoner to this agency, to this business, because like a client calls late at night. Oh, I don't want to lose them. Let me get on a call. But like I found by creating those rules and then coming up with why I want to do those rules, that made my life so much happier.
I live and die by my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. My calendar is color coded based on like if is this business dev related? Is it client related? Is it internal related? Or is it focus time related? Mondays are no call days. Like those are my deep work type days. Like I start with like weekly planning after I do like my morning routine and be like, okay, like what's the big thing I need to accomplish this week for growth of the agency? Uh, and then kind of like map out from there. I used to be super ADHD about it and like have 15-minute events. And then what would happen is something else would like come up that I would have to, and then look at my calendar and be like, this is not working. Where I've gotten way better at just putting like time blocks, like 3-4 hour chunks, and saying like, okay, this is internal related for ops or check-ins, etc. This is focus time. I don't may not know exactly what it is, but it's focus time. So that way there's more flexibility. It's not super black and white.
Hey, agency owners, if you're sticking with one platform for every project, you're probably stuck in a growth bottleneck. More clients means more hires, which adds noise and cuts into profits. To break the loop, you need a more flexible tool that doesn't stretch your resources. Now, Wix Studio is a smart addition to your agency's toolkit. Intuitive by design, your team can quickly master the platform and focus on the work that matters the most. Now, with robust native business solutions like booking, e-com, and events, you can take on any project at any scale without adding cost to third-party plugins. Plus, Wix Studio is a low-maintenance platform, meaning you can redirect client budget toward real growth initiatives. Think more value for your clients, steady income stream, and stronger relationships. Scale your agency at wixstudio.com.
Do you ever audit your calendar? Like look back over the past 2 weeks and I've done this where I'll print out my calendar for the past 2 weeks and then I'll highlight it. Green or red? Green gave me energy. Red drained the shit out of me. Right? It'd be like, I don't want to do any more of these type of meetings. Have you ever done that?
Many years ago, the first coach I worked with, we do a time audit where average work week, and then in a sheet, 4 separate columns, numbered 550, 500, 5,000. My time's worth $5,000 per hour. Where is my time spent? I figured I was going to be way more in the 50 and 500. And lo and behold, I was like way more left-sided in the 5 and 50. It's like, okay, anything below 500, I need to delegate or outsource to somebody else. So that way I can focus on the things that like really impact the business. But then like with calls, like I hate saying the word sales. Sure, it's sales, but at the same time, all I'm doing is I'm showing a potential lead. We don't have a deck. Like I'm showing them, here's the stuff I see. I'm listening for pain points, red flags from them. And it's just more of a conversation. Like I really enjoy those, but at the same time, they also drain my energy. Like I can't switch from that to highly technical types of tasks. Like Tuesday through Thursday, Tuesday is usually like mainly like internal check-ins with different departments, department level sync. It's like I know I'm not going to get anything highly technical done that day, but I do have an app that I use on a daily basis. I'm not an affiliate for them, but like it's
What's it called?
Brain.fm.
Okay.
So it's music that is scientifically backed to get your brain state into like the right mode that you're looking for. So they have it for like they have them for like meditation. They have it for deep sleep. They have it for creativity. They have it for like motivation. They also have it for deep work. And
That's where they have the heavy metal playing.
I mean, I've got some playlists for stuff like that too. But you can customize and say like, okay, I want acoustic, or I want electronic, or I want rock. And within a couple minutes, like it gets you into that state.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like 40 or $50 a year. I like it so much I offer it to everybody on my team. Like, hey, if you want this, we will pay for it. Like, please just let us know. So we have a team
That's cool.
account. Highly recommend.
I'll have to check that out. Well, Blake, this has been a lot of fun. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the listeners listening in?
Depending on like where a lot of like your listeners are at. For a long period of time, like I thought, like, okay, I want to keep growing the agency and get to 7, 8, 9 figures in revenue, and then I'll be happy. And then I learned about the hedonic treadmill, and it's like, oh, what am I actually like trying to build? Like, then that ties back into like what type of lifestyle, what type of life do I want for myself, and then build around that instead of focusing on an arbitrary number. And then once I'm able to, for averaging 20% net profit and it's all mine, right? And we're doing 5 million a year. It's like, okay, now what am I doing with that money? Am I just letting it stack or am I spending it? What am I doing? Do I even need that much? Just kind of gets way more down to instead of like chasing growth for growth's sake. Like, okay, like why? Literally, what's the point? Because if you like, oh, you have this goal of buying a brand new shiny car, cool. You're going to get that car for about 5 days. You're going to feel really good. And then you're going to go right back to your baseline. But now you've got a heavier monthly expense plus expensive auto insurance, et cetera.
Yeah, there's always the next thing, right? Like when you're just chasing stuff. And I found earlier in my career, I was chasing growth more for other people than myself. And actually, I'll probably reverse that. I was chasing it more for them to accept me. Like I wanted them to know that I was successful. I was looking for their acceptance. And I think a lot of times when I chat with other agency owners and entrepreneurs, they're just looking for validation and acceptance from their peers for hitting a number. But like going back to like what you were saying is, I love that you go, this is what I want to do all year. What do I need to make? And then you're like, oh my God, I'm only $1,500 off on that. I can find that. And then you can go get it. And then you're living your best life. Like that's the whole thing, right? You don't know if you have 10 years. You don't know if you have 50 years or a year or minutes, whatever it is. And especially the older and dumber I get, or right, like the more gray hair I get, I'm like, dude, time is the most precious thing. Surround yourself with amazing clients and surround yourself with amazing team members and partners, and just enjoy it, right? Because I look back at my time at the agency, I'm like, man, it was so much fun. Like I remember all the crappy things that happened at the time, but I'm like, those are the things I remember. Those are the character building moments. Those are what shaped us. I learned more from failures than I learned from my successes. And then, you can kind of take that and just live a good life or a great life.
Yeah. So like I have a tattoo on my hand, can probably put up, that is Latin. It says memento mori. And it literally translates to you must die. And like right now, like this is the present moment. Neither one of us are guaranteed another hour, another day, another week, month, year, et cetera. Right. And which like really kind of makes you right sized. But then back to like, oh, we chase numbers for the acceptance and validation from our peers. And it's like, okay, like do you currently accept and validate yourself for who you are, where you're currently at right now? Because getting that external validation is not going to fill like what you're ultimately trying to be okay with, which is just yourself. Like that kind of goes into like this whole other like hypothesis I have with agency owners, especially in digital marketing, where like it takes a certain type of business person to be an entrepreneur, let alone a digital marketing agency owner, right? And usually you've had a pretty interesting, that's the word I'll use, interesting upbringing in order to make it where like when everything's on fire around me, I'm calm, cool, and collected. I know exactly what to do and I'm focused. Where like the more adversity, the more pressure I'm under, like a diamond, like I just shine. And then it kind of ties into there's this scoring system that Kaiser Permanente developed years ago that the CDC has a whole thing on, and it's called ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences, and which also directly affects your physical and mental health too. Like if you score a 3 or higher, instances of high blood pressure, heart disease, cancer, autoimmune disease, mental health issues, addiction, all of it just skyrockets. And every agency owner I've asked in my network to like take that test, like on their own, there's 10 questions. Like they score at a minimum a 3. And it's not like some trauma measuring contest. It's just more of like, it's just information where it's like, oh, but then people I know that aren't agency owners ask and take it, and they're usually like maybe a 1, maybe a 2.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like I was telling you kind of the pre-show, like I find most agency owners have ADD or dyslexia too. And, I think it's just we like solving problems and we have a hyper focus on marketing or solving those problems. And like when things kind of get hard or hard for most people, it's kind of like, all right, cool. Like this is fun. Like it's a puzzle. Let's see how we can kind of put this together and figure it out. And then almost time too, a lot of times we try to create chaos to bring that back. Like when
Oh yeah.
you're like, what can I fuck up right now? Like that's how I felt like.
Yep. 100%. I've manufactured chaos in the agency, in my personal life, because that's what normal is. Like that's like the normal state. And then going against that life, I mean, I have a whole, can't see it here, but like I have a whole sleeve. And part of that tattoo is like my life used to be very, very exciting. Life was very black and white. It was either a 9 or a 10, amazing, massive ups, or massive down, 0 or 1. Like, oh my God, we just lost this whale of a client that I've represented. And this has happened a couple of different times in the past 16 years where we've had one huge client that represented anywhere from 2/3 of agency revenue to like 40%. And then they go away out of nowhere and you go, uh-oh, we're in trouble. And then within 3 months, all of that business is replaced and then some. And going like, okay, how do I create that anxiety, that stress without the actual thing happening? And I got a recommendation from Claude on how to do this, which I don't know if I could do it. Maybe I should just to see what happens. But it's allocating X amount of money and say like, okay, if I don't hit this individual, this goal, this metric, whatever it is, I have to take that money and donate it to a charity I do not like.
I like the do not like, and I've done that with other people because like you're like, oh, if I donate it to the ones I like, then they're like
And you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to a charity, or you can throw a political organization in there that you do not like, that's just
Huge motivation.
a lot of pressure.
I had this idea of, after I sold the agency, before I got into this, I don't think I've ever told anybody this. I created this, this site. I wanted to help people lose weight because I was thinking about myself, right? Like I've always struggled with not being, I've always been athletic and fit, but there's always like, I got a little chub to me, right? Like, I'd like to get rid of some love handles. And so with that in mind, the company I was going to create was called Chubby Busters. And if you wanted to lose weight, like, so let's say I said, Blake, I want to lose 20 pounds. You're going to be my Chubby Buster friend. I posted a very, very awful picture of me, like, my gut hanging out or whatever it is, or droopy, whatever. And I want you to be my Chubby Buster partner. And if I hit my goal, the picture deletes. If I don't, that picture gets put out in the public. Right. It's kind of the same thing of like, man, I better work my ass off to do it. I was like, I better not do that.
Yeah. Cause then you got like 4 days left and you're like, I've got 15 pounds to lose. And then you go full throttle.
Yeah. You get sick pretty quick. So,
Oh yeah.
I killed that idea, but I had the best song. It was going to be like off the Ghostbusters song, like when you're feeling fat, and you're just going down that rabbit hole. And so never did it. Probably never going to do it. Hope no one ever does it either. So, well, Blake, this has been awesome. Thanks so much for coming on the show and sharing your wisdom and how you've created a really amazing agency. Great life. So congrats on that. And for everyone, listening, if you guys, one of the things I found over the years to, make growing and scaling the agency and being happy over the years is being around amazing people that understand what you're going through, can share what's working, can see the things that you might not be able to see. And that's why we've created the Agency Mastermind. So if you go to agencymastery.io, apply, and we can have a conversation and see if this community is right for you. And until next time, have a swank day.